Dynamite download.
Dynamite download, your home for all positive coverage with all elite wrestling.
Oh, you guys, positive energy.
This reality, like, it is me. Like,
who let this guy in here?
This is what pro wrestling's supposed to feel like.
I'm saying I have a better record than Kenny Omega and Samoa Joe, and now I'm going to have to wrestle them.
I've never seen someone able to break down, like, wrestling like he does.
I said, Mariah May said who?
Because I'm so driven, and I'm so moved to like what I want to do.
Versus Brian Keith match.
It's awesome. Oh, it's so cool. You got like these creepy ass dudes.
Oldest ride, longest line.
I was like deep diving into like cults.
My real story does connect with a lot of people.
I never say never about anything.
Yeah.
Back to do an interview with those guys. You know why? Because they spread positivity about AEW.
Welcome to Dynamite Download.
Woo!
That is right. What is up, Mid-Runner and SP, bringing you episode 125 of Dynamite Download. How's it going?
What's going on with my name here? What is this? Who's in charge?
Mid.
Yo, you do one interview for Dynamite Download with La Mera, and just because she mispronounced my name, I don't think she was implying anything by calling me Mid-Runner. Not at all. And way to go, Courtney. She's throwing kerosene on the flames. What's up, Brent? Yeah, Mid-Runner. So if you didn't get a chance to check it out, we have the live interview. This is as close as I have to a referee shirt, and boy, I felt like I was a cross between Tony Schiavone and, at some cases, I felt like I was Rick Knox or Bryce Rumsberg, or a little bit of Aubrey there too, because they were going at it. The Thunder and Riche Chanel. Just a little thing. They're the aftermath of Mission Pro Mania. We're gonna have Thunder Rosa taking on Riche Chanel, and Thunder Rosa was talking mad trash. I had to intervene a few times, and she didn't like it, so she called me Mid-Runner. And thus,
I mean, you're talking a Mission Pro type of storylines, AEW storylines. I mean, she's got fire through her veins, through and through, and I've said it before, and that's one of the biggest characteristics that we really love about her is just like the passion that she has for whatever she does, wherever she's at, whatever she does, whether it be NWA, AEW, Mission Pro, wherever she's at, man, she's delivering the fire. It's in her veins. And that is, as I've mentioned time and time again, when she was on the map and debuted in AEW, that really, put me as a supporter of the women's division, like really opened my eyes even more of like, okay, shit's getting real. It's getting real now that she's here, because everything from, as we've spoken about, her entrance and her firepower offense, her passionate promo, her passion for the business, it's the total package. And, it's been a pleasure to be able to be a fan of hers for many years and, support her for many years and continue a relationship with her and Mission Pro. This
chat we had today, you got to go check it out. Even if, number one, if you're not a Mission Pro fan, this should fire you up for the next event. You got to check it out. But this also proves, like you're saying, how Thunder Rosa needs more mic time. It's not that she needs practice on the mic. She needs mic time to help tell these stories, because those last promos she did leading up to Tony Storm were incredible. Just getting the mic time, the whole rubbing the face paint. Thunder knows how to tell a story. Thunder knows how to build it up
very, very well.
Yeah, Tony Khan, the off chance you're watching, I know you got a lot of things to do. You've got you're resting your neck in Jacksonville, and we're going to talk about that in just a moment. But I got to tell you, Tony, please give Thunder the mic as much as possible. Let her school these people. The doctor, she said the doctor, PhD Thunder Rosa is coming around, the new learning tree. So book it. Let's have it go. And before we get started, though, SBD, Brian the Raz is in the chat with a super sticker. That means it's time for a
super chat.
Right, and let's have it. Boom! Way to go. Nice job.
Thank you, BR.
Thank you so
Appreciate
much, BR. Awesome. You get the super chat party going. We love it.
Kicking things off 125 in a good way. Super chat party. I love it. While we're talking about super chat party, why don't you throw up the most recent rankings that we got here in the the road to Double or Nothing draft, which unfortunately we're a little handcuffed with a little bit of missing out on a few hours of TV time over the next few weeks due to playoff sports, hockey and NHL and NBA. So, which I'm all for. I love playoff hockey, but my team's not in it. However, it's nice that we unexpectedly, I think we got that extra hour of Rampage. Next week, we're going to get 3 hours straight of TV time after Collision. They announced that they're going to do Rampage after Collision, so it's going to be 3 straight hours of that. But let's throw up the rankings. You know, SPD's on.
And there they are. Look at those numbers right there, everybody.
This might be my first time tied for second of the season so far.
This is actually really good. And I want to, although, of course, the action on the left side of the left columns, that's where the real battle is taking place. But I want to highlight on the right-hand side, don't sleep on the right-hand side here. Courtney is double digits. She's at 13. Brent is at 8. Anything can happen. Bobby at 6. I think that's tremendous. I think that's things are going to be. wait a minute. Yeah, my own wife is joining in on Thunder Rosa here. What's going on here? Shouldn't it say mid instead of mind?
That's great.
Oh boy, mid runner. I'm not going to live this down anymore.
But it's getting close. I mean, we're still over 3 weeks away from Double or Nothing. Anything can happen. A lot of things. To me, as we're on a road to Double or Nothing, the card shaping out for Double or Nothing is happening really early, in my opinion. I don't know if they're doing that more in advance to help, pad the attendance or the ticket sales or whatever it may be. But let's run through it. I mean, we got Willow versus Mercedes, Osprey versus Roddy Strong. Obviously, Swerve versus Christian Cage, which we'll talk about today. We have
Deeb versus Tony Storm. Yep.
Is there anything else that's been?
Let's see. I'm not sure what they're going to do with the tag titles yet, but I don't know. It's going to be interesting to see. They're building up a lot of storylines, like you said. And I wonder if they're taking a nod from some of the constructive criticism, because Lord knows there's a feces pile of criticism out there in AEW, but there are some nuggets of some true good, constructive criticism. And one of them is a lot of times the last minute buildups don't help the ticket sales much, or you got to start generating some interest. Now, I understand the other side of the token. If you start announcing matches early, it takes some of the buzz out of it. But I think that there's enough time here to really build up a good buzz. I mean, we aren't far away from it. I mean, today's May 2nd. We're really getting close to. So I wonder if they're trying to build up some momentum. I have a feeling though that there will be some more surprises. I think we're going to get some surprise returns, some surprise debuts. I'd love to know in the chat what everybody thinks, what kind of surprises. I'm hoping that the Motor City Machine Guns show up before Double or Nothing, but Hey,
no, I hope they don't. I hope they show up at Double or Nothing, not wrestle till after. Purposes. But I saw something on the way Claudio's been cooking. It would be great versus him versus Okada, which someone tweeted out online, and I was like, I sent it to you. I'm like, that would be a really good match because both guys are big, tall guys that are just tall. excellent wrestlers. And so I think if you have Okada have back-to-back defenses versus Pac and Claudio, that would just be, I think, an incredible back-to-back defenses for Okada, and kind of solidify him as great as we all know he can be and is. So, but that being said, there's a lot of double or nothing stuff we could talk about, but let's talk about last night. And the card for last night, not a ton of wrestling, but there was a lot going on that really was pushing the envelope and really got me excited for. Obviously, the big news was Kenny's return. We were finding out who Swerve's opponent was at Double or Nothing. Look at just like that cheesy, shit-eating grin on Jericho's face, which I can't wait to talk about that. I mean, just look at that.
Yeah.
And I'm happy the way that's been panning out. And then the return of Samoa Joe. So a lot of great stuff that was building for this card here. But I got to say, man, the way that this has been on my mind, the way that they started this show was one of my favorites of Dynamite ever. I think just it was absolutely brilliant. I've been calling for this side of the Young Bucks for weeks and weeks and weeks and weeks, and we got it. I mean, the fact that TK is leaning into this injury and being remote and at the NFL draft, I'm just like, I'm here for it all. I'm just like marking out for it all because I think it's just absolutely genius, hilarious, great for the biz, great for AEW. Everything about it is just fantastic. As soon as I saw him on screen like this, I was like, yes. I was just almost cheering in my living room because I was just so happy for it, because I think it's so ridiculous in a good way, but it's fun. And it's got me really excited for this angle, and I think they're really cooking with this one right here, and it's doing some great stuff. What was your first reaction when you saw TK on
brilliant? And as soon as I started seeing like the first little static, I thought, okay, it was just a glitch. I mean, because let's be honest, they've actually had at Daly's Place, they had a lot of glitches, legit glitches. But then the second and third time, I'm like, oh, they didn't this. Oh, it's gonna be the Bucks. And sure enough, the Bucks are in the studio or in the truck and went, oh, we seem to have lost Tony's feed. Now,
so good.
I thought that this was going to lead to an all-night thing. You know, obviously, this is the storyline. They're going to drag this out, and we can talk about Kenny because this connects to Kenny's return. But this whole concept of the EVPs run amok, the elite run amok, and it's brilliant. It's exactly like just when the Bucks kind of get to almost a stale point. Like, I wouldn't say they get to a stale point, but when they start to run their course with whatever storyline they're doing, they reinvent themselves. And like, to me, this is the best of heel Bucks that I've seen. And it's tremendous. I love how, Matthew kind of takes he's the good cop in a way, but not really, like the swarmy, like I'm saying nice things, but I'm really being a jerk about it. And Nicholas is being it's just it's delicious. Saying that, Okada this is such a great way to introduce Okada to everybody as this heel. You got to watch Okada during a lot of these interactions when they're all in a group, because his facial expressions, what he lacks in speaking of English, his facial expressions are tremendous. And that whole thing when they pile drove Tony with the EVP, there was the TK driver. Mm-hmm. He's doing the Scott Hall and all that stuff. It's tremendous. And I got to say, and I want to ask you this: who would have thought there was somebody with the name Mindrunner a long time ago, and I vaguely remember him saying that of the four pillars, Jungle Boy was the weakest and needed the most developing. If anybody came out an upgrade from the whole thing with All In, the Crimea River, I think it's Jack Barrett.
There's a lot to digest of what you just said there. First off, I want to say I agree. As much as babyface I love the confetti, the streamers, the tassels, Young Bucks, and all that shenanigans. I love the danglies, the shoe game, and all the stuff they're doing BT. But this EVP abuse of power side of them has been top-notch stuff. They are cooking so hot in the kitchen right now. Give me more and more and more, which I've been calling for weekend after week. And they've really delivered throughout the whole show, which has been fantastic. And I almost even wanted more. I mean, first off, like starting the way this way, interrupting Swerve's promo, finding Swerve on there as well, and then interrupting Renee Paquette's promo with that text message telling her to smile more. And then at the end of this, so everything that they touched turned to gold, and they're doing some great stuff, man. I just cannot get enough of this, and it is nice. I mean, having Nicholas Matthew be like kind of like the mouthpiece and the leader of the group and all that, and it's just, man, I just was loving every second of it, and they delivered it fantastic. And I hope they get more of it, just more abuse of power. And it was great to kind of clear the air. And for some people of like, if Tony Khan's not here, we are the next in charge or whatever it may be. So I want them to almost come down to the ring with their headsets on and like call a match off or something like that. Or, you're running too long, match is over. It's something just ridiculous over the top.
Pull a Teddy Long and come out and say, you're going to go 1-on-1 with the Murder Hawk. And then 5.
Yeah.
Lance Archer be their Undertaker.
It's so great. They're doing the countdowns. Like cue the music in 3, 2, 1.
I love the stuff that they're doing. And, this of course, bookends Kenny's, heartfelt, promo that he did when he came out. He told us about the diverticulitis. Now, Courtney brings up an interesting statement in the chat that I've heard today. I've read a few, of course, it's on Twitter, so it must be true. But I've read some things that it's possible that Kenny is actually cleared to wrestle. He's just not saying that his injury is less of it's more kayfabe now. I don't know how much of that's true. I don't know if it's not true, but I don't know. Again, it could actually be a problem, but I think that it could actually be a serious problem. But I don't think they would have had him in the ring last night if he wasn't in some way. If there was a chance that he could die in the ring. Now, granted, maybe that's how he feels, but I don't think they would have opened themselves to that. So we're probably going to see Kenny come back again.
If they're building, a couple things I want to talk about. First off, since you're on the topic of that, let's talk about Kenny Omega. Then I want to talk about Jack Perry himself.
Yes.
But Kenny Omega, if he legit was, a spear away from his intestines exploding, they would have definitely been more cautious. Yes, I know the passion for the business and all that, whatever, I get that. However, man, I think the way that they booked Kenny as the main event spotlight for this, and the way it was the overrun straight into Rampage, everything about it, I think, was perfectly executed. And Kenny, obviously, with that very heartfelt promo, and it was a great reminder for us all. We're all guilty of out of sight, out of mind. And it's a great reminder for us all that Kenny is easily one of the best wrestlers we've ever seen in our lifetime. He's the best bout machine for a reason, Mr. 7-star match. And when you have a roster filled with the Will Ospreays and the Swerve Stricklands and the Adam Copelands and all these putting on awesome performances, it's easy to unintentionally forget about Kenny Omega on the roster. AEW is at its best with Kenny Omega, period.
Yeah.
Whether he's in a heel role or babyface role, he's needed. And for him to be back after being off screen for, almost 5 months, 4 or 5 months, is definitely a very welcomed return from his amazing entrance by Justin Roberts, which I was hoping and crossing my fingers we would get. As soon as he pulled that out of his pocket, I was like, yes, this is great. But then when he went face to face with Okada, oh my gosh, I was just like,
yes,
I couldn't believe it. I mean, that was like, people were saying that's like a Stone Cold versus a Rock type of face to face. And I am all for if they build this all the way to Wembley. You take this, you stretch it out. He's lean into the fact like, oh, I'm not clear to wrestle. I'm waiting for second opinions and all this stuff. Like, okay, it's May. You have 3.5 months till All In. Build it for him to be on and off screen, doing stuff, and getting in the face of Okada, and then you put Okada versus Kenny Omega for the return at All In. The place will go berserk and you have like this huge entrance. You have this like 5 minute, not that long, let's just say like a minute long speech from Justin Roberts. Cleaner comes back because it's all, of course it's a Cleaner versus the Rainmaker. You have to have the Sweepers come back out, the Cleaner crew, and just have this absolute banger with Kenny Omega and Okada. I think there's no other way to book it. I think that's exactly what you have to do in AEW for All In.
Well, and there's more than just titles on the line with that, because Okada flat out looked him dead in the eye and said that I'm best bout machine now. I'm the captain now. Like, I'm the Cleaner now. He's actually asked for it, and when Kenny's ready, he's gonna bring it back, and I think it's gonna be tremendous.
I hope he stays. I hope he can recover. And I mean, I know a friend that has had the similar thing and had a bag for a while, and not to get too gross and all that, but like legit, he's recovered, and was a professional bodybuilder and had to take time off because of that, and then came back and then competed again and so forth. So like it's possible, but it definitely is a severe injury. But man, if that was Omega versus Okada, could steal the show. If you put Ospreay versus Swerve, I mean, we still, I hate to say it, I didn't book my All In card like we were supposed to. Did you?
We're kind of doing it though, in a way. We're kind of mentally doing it as we talk.
Two of them right off the bat, which we've been leaning for. I would say Swerve versus Ospreay, Okada versus Kenny.
And there's one that I want, but it's selfish. Now, the fact that I'm now mid runner, I don't know if I want this anymore. But I was hoping that we might get Thunder Rosa versus Jamie Hayter at All In. Now, I'd love to see that match no matter what. And
I would also book MJF versus Adam Cole.
That would be
Speaking of mid.
Come big time mid, exactly.
Well, that's 4 matches we're talking right there, and you're not even like a trios match. I would love to see the reunited Death Triangle get the trios titles back if there's no program there. I think that would be a lot of fun to take them off the Bang Bang Gang.
And if they don't debut before Double or Nothing, you have Motor City Machine Guns versus FTR versus Young Bucks, TLC. And
there we go.
Can you imagine in a stadium like that, a TLC match? Nick Jackson spearing Chris Sabin, or the book. Oh, and guess who's back also? Let's make it a 4-way dance. Let's bring in Cero Miedo.
Gosh, well, the chemistry within those guys, so it's just like absolutely incredible. I think that you and I should talk off show and kind of like, this is our All In card prediction, and we'll debut it next week for sure. Like, it'll be done.
Well, and we are working on bringing back Friday Night Fights and Flights, so maybe that could be a separate thing where we talk about it or something like that. I don't know. Oh, poor Kenny.
R.I.P. Kenny. So, I was shocked that they brought out the stretcher. I know Kenny did a great job selling this, but the fact that they went to even much more even heel level was just perfect. I mean, they just went in. I was really shocked to see FTR come to the aid, especially with, kayfabe aside, knowing like Dax was diagnosed with a concussion. And so when their music hit, I was a little surprised with that, and pleasantly surprised in a good way. So I'm loving where this is going. I don't know. I know a lot of rumblings like, when's Hangman going to come back? Is Hangman going to be the savior? Are we going to get a Hangman Kenny versus the Bucks again, which was so good for so long, those battles? One of the best tag team matches that we've ever seen with those two going toe to toe. That's another way you can go it, another outlet you can go that way. But which I think eventually you have to visit, or do you also do some kind of blood and guts blow off eventually, Elite versus AEW, a lot of things that are stemming from this, which is very, very exciting.
And don't forget, we've got Fight for the Fallen of the Fallen, Fightful, Fighter Fest. You got all those other things in between. They didn't do Beach Break in the middle of winter.
There wasn't a January Beach Break.
that always would tickle me, and especially the one where they had Hobbs and Starks out in the middle of was it Chicago with the snow, and they're like, "Hey, this is beach break."
Right.
Yeah, what a beach this is.
But I want to mention this because you touched on it. Jack Perry. Yeah. This is the elite member that we never knew we wanted that we're absolutely loving. Yeah. Talk about capitalizing on the given situation and the circumstances and really maximizing every ounce of this, squeezing all the juice out of the fruit with this one. And I'm impressed every single week with what he's delivering. Honestly, looking at, as you mentioned, the Pillars and Jack Perry, and he was fun in Jungle Boy, and then when he turned heel and then he came out with the symphony songs, I was like, okay, this is not necessarily working for me. But over the last 8 months or however long he was gone, the resurgence and the promo work that he's improved on, the character work that he's improved on, and really just aligning himself with the elite has been top notch. And I think it's very, very surprising in a good way and very impressive. Yeah. I think it's not what I expected, and I did not expect Jack Perry to. If you would have told me Jack Perry is going to be a member of the elite last year, or 18 months ago, I would have laughed in your face.
Yeah, and it would fit, and it would make sense. Like that's one of the biggest things. I'm watching even this promo he cut last night. It's one of those internet exclusives. He's going off. He's cut this incredible promo on Kenny Omega and why he did what he did, and. There's I'm looking at the comments like, no, bro, I can't do Jungle Boy. I can't take him seriously. Blah, blah, blah. And I'm looking, but you're missing out because a lot of us are turned around on this. A Jungle Boy would not be elite, would not be part of the elite, but Jack Perry, and I don't know how much of this was planned and how much of this was just happy accident. Obviously, nobody planned on him and CM Punk fighting. Right. And any of that kind of stuff, the Crimea River stuff, but the way that he showed up in New Japan, the scapegoat thing, how it played into the heel Bucks and this whole thing, whether it was planned or not, has just really elevated Jack Perry, and the guy that they always said he needs to do better at cutting promos. Dude went to school. The promo school, came back, and he's cutting some really good promos. Whoever he's got in his ear, he's doing very well. He's embracing this character. So that's something I think I do criticize AEW with debuts. A lot of times they fumble debuts, and that's my opinion. I've said this before, and it's not. I'm not going to turn off AEW. I mean, I love the show. It's like a minor, tiny little nitpick. What one of the strengths that AEW has is shaping who they have, like when they want to. You could argue there's some people in catering that don't belong, that need to be on TV, but they could take the Dark Order and make them cool. They could take, they could repackage people. Look at Britt Baker from that 2019 to Britt Baker right before she left us. You're taking all these characters and just allowing them to thrive, but shaping them and guiding them. And, this Jack Perry is exactly what we need, what he has needed for his character to go to the next level.
100%. And it's been absolutely fantastic. And he is cutting some fantastic promos, and it's really a breath of fresh air in the sense of like, this is great to be able to watch his development and growth. And, maybe a certain father figure has really worn off on him,
Speaking of father figures, shall we talk about Swerve's new opponent?
That's right.
Oh my goodness.
The man himself has returned, and very interesting how the Young Bucks saying how they introduced him. Especially with the ties with Jack Perry relatively recently. So you could have seen some kind of alignment eventually or something down the lines. However, this was kind of, I thought this was a good, if we look back at our shows, I called Christian Cage. I think that would have been a great first opponent. Second opponent, because we had third. This would be his third title defense, which is more than most people in general, because he beat Claudio and he beat Oh, who did
He
he
had 3
defend?
matches, didn't he?
This will be the third. So who did he face the first night?
Yeah,
back?
an open challenge on. When did he fight Claudio? Was it Claudio? Was at Collision?
Claudio
but he
was in
on
Jacksonville.
Dynamite he wrestled. Who did he wrestle on Dynamite?
Oh my god!
It was not Will Ospreay, the other guy.
Oh, Fletcher.
Now that was a qualification match or something.
Yes.
That wasn't a. That was a what's it called match? But
That's a whole.
yeah, I mean,
Fletcher's been really good. Anyways, but this announcement of this, obviously in the hometown Canada, and Christian Cage, it works so well because he's such a great heel. Just like, oh man, you just want to hate him. You want to hate him, but you want to boo him and you want to cheer him at the same time because he does such great work. And so the fact that this being his first opponent, I think it's going to be an awesome test for Swerve, an awesome rub for Swerve. I think it's going to be a great push for Swerve because, you know, Christian Cage can book and hype up a match. Give him 5 minutes on the mic and the match makes it top notch.
We went from not having a clue who Swerve's opponent is going to be to building up an epic showdown. Like, and there was so much meat he used. I mean, this was the perfect, like, you saw it. You were pressing it with this whole thing. But this was such a great pick for his opponent in that there's so much meat there. You talked about the Jack Perry connection. I love how he tied in. You went and beat up Nick Wayne.
Mm-hmm.
You know, the whole Nick Wayne thing. He tied in that. He tied in this whole thing.
Made it relevant of why he should be the challenger.
Yep. And then he even said, and it was so funny listening to the crowd because they were like us. We want to boo him, but we're like, we love him because he's such a great heel. But then he said, and then he goes, and your daughter. And as soon as he said that, everyone, oh no, we'll have the father figure she deserves. And the crowd just boo. But you know, there's love in that whole thing.
Well, you know, Christian Cage is just absolute top of his game right now. And I think he is been doing some of the best work on the mic and as a heel over the last year or so. Just it's been top notch, man. Props to him. I'm so happy he's back on screen because, as you said, like, as much as we want to cheer him because we know him as a role and a character, it's so fun to watch. But what's so great about him and him being so professional is that he has those cards up his sleeve. He's like, I got these 1, 2, 3, 4 one-liners that I can really turn the crowd like that. And so, boom, he said that daughter line. Boom, he said Winnipeg sucks. You know what? You know the home crowd one about losing, and so it's like you have those easy. They're not cheap heat, but it's ones that will make you get heat no matter what. So if the crowd starts cheering you, he knows a way to turn you back right away.
Christian Cage is a button pusher. He's a habitual button pusher. He can't help himself. You put a button out there, he's going to find it and push it. And it's brilliant. He had everybody, like, just like you said, everybody's cheering, excited for this matchup, but no, we're going to boo him. So, yeah, this dude knows how to bring the heat, and I love it.
The best heel in AEW is back on TV, and it is welcomed and needed, and it's great to see him on the screen because, man, he is fantastic.
Best heel wrestler. We might mention the best heel manager coming up, but I don't know if we'll get to that.
Oh, all right. I want to talk about actually, you got no hot take this week, but
actually, we do have a hot take. Actually, this is not from myself, Midrunner, or SBD, but this is actually a hot take that we've had on the burner for a while. It was actually delivered just after Easter, so you'll notice there's an Easter basket reference. But we got a hot take from none other than the Tribal Bae herself. Not only is you've seen her on New Japan Wrestling, you've seen her at WWE, you've seen her on Mission Pro Wrestling. She is she's basically the Tony Schiavone of Mission Pro. But I'm talking about the Tribal Bae, Emily May Heller. She's got a little message for, I think this is for you, SBD. So here's that little hot take for you from Emily May.
All right, SBD, you know who it is. It's Emily May. And look, I'm interrupting my Easter activities. The Easter Bunny came by. I got the golden egg the golden egg of Easter here. And I know it's Easter, but we're going to talk wrestling. And let me tell you, you're going down. You're going down this season in the AEW Double or Nothing draft. You want to know why? Because, you're not always a winner. You might have won last season, but my pick, Emily May's pick, the golden goose, the golden egg of all of wrestling, my pick to win is Miss Courtney. Yes, Miss Courtney will win. She's the best on the roster and deserves the crown. I am giving Courtney the golden egg. Emily May's Easter golden egg. Even, look at the Bucky shirt. Even the Bucky shirt rocks more than you. Yeah, I'm not sorry. So sorry, not sorry, whatever. All the sayings that you can say. No, I want you to go cry in your Ford Bronco. Because what's a Ford Bronco? Is it a car? Is it a truck? Is it new? Who knows? Who even drives a Ford Bronco anymore? Well, anyway, take your eggs, take your draft picks, take all of that, and, go away. Enjoy your Easter, I guess. Have some bunny treats or something, some candy. But yeah, go cry. Go away. All right. Bye.
Oh my goodness. By the way, book your book a cameo from Emily May. She's awesome. As you can see, she's awesome at it. Some very interesting words. Not only is her controversial choice of don't sleep on Courtney, that Courtney might be the one winning this thing, but she went there about Broncos, dude.
Wow, she cut deep when she went there. Wow, that was a deep cut. But all I gotta say is the champ is here. It's one thing getting to the mountain, it's one thing staying on top of the mountain. So I know it is just as hard as defending it as it is winning it. But as of now, I'm going to bask in my glory. Bask in his glory. But SPD is the reigning and defending champ. So she can talk smack all she wants, but she'll be crawling back for wishing SPD a congratulatory back-to-back championship. So coming Double or Nothing. Maybe she'll want to be in on the draft of round 3, season 3.
That is a possibility. We should definitely ask her. Hold on. Yeah. Okay. We have another hot take. I don't believe this, but hang on, SPD. We have a hot take, hot off the press. Ooh. Here we go. Let's hear from this hot take from a media presence, another wrestling media icon.
Okay.
A controversial figure. Let's see what we got here.
I can confirm this. As the man behind Wrestling Observer Live, Wrestling Observer Radio, The Brian and Vinny Show, Figure 4 Daily with Lance Storm, Filthy 4 Daily with Tom Lawler, author of Death of WCW, a certified third-degree Gracie Jiu-Jitsu black belt. Well, I can tell you, the rumors of SPD retaining his crown in the Dynamite Download Podcast AEW Draft, untrue. I'm telling you, one of the premier reporters in this business today, all of those reports are wrong. My sources confirm that it will be Mind Runner. My sources are so certain of this that the lights are flickering in this room. He will go over and win the entire goddamn thing. Don't doubt me on this one. This Mind Runner, he is unstoppable. News at 6.
Oh my!
Hey, Wrestling Observer Live.
Is there a third one? Jeez, these are not hot takes. These are attack SPD night.
Well, I mean, hey, that was the hot off the press one that just came in. We had to get it uploaded.
Yeah,
that was
a heel here. I'm a baby face. The champ is here.
Hey, it's lonely at the top. You got that's what happens when you got a title to defend.
It's true. Man, can you imagine if I would have won the bingo card? I would have been 1 point, or I would have been in the lead right now. Because you would have subtracted 3, and I would have been plus 3. So you'd have been at 28. I would have been at 30.
No, you see, here's how it works. You got it wrong. You see, I'm at 31. If I had lost 3, that would have been 33% of 31. But then that 33 would have been 66% of my championship that would still be there. So that 66% plus the 31% would actually, and if you subtract the 3%, that actually makes it 133% chance that I would still be in the lead. Just like Big Papa Pump said.
As soon as you went there, I was like, oh, I know where we're going. That was one of the craziest promos, but awesome promos. But
hey, Steiner math,
man, they're coming for me. I know everyone's coming for me for the title, and I don't blame them. You know, it's fun being at the top right there, holding the gold. You know, rocking the belt every single day. The Dynamite Download draft belt.
It's gonna look nice in my trophy room.
Yeah, we'll see about that. We'll see. Next week we got Copeland fighting. We got Mariah May fighting.
Copeland.
Yeah.
What's going on with Copeland? What do you think's going on with that whole thing?
Let's talk about that. Let's segue to the Cope Open. So, you know, a lot of things are happening with him because, you know, I was a little disappointed. I don't know. I only have that. So let me just pull this up for now. I was a little disappointed with my guy, Adam Copeland, chicken bum, the Rated R chicken bums losing at Dynasty, because that would have been a great 2-pointer for me. But I get the storyline because, you know, obviously the meat that we're really leaning in for is the Cope versus Malachi, which all signs point towards that being at the pay-per-view, which would be a great match. You know, House of Black does so many great things, so many things right, and so many things unique and one of a kind. And I'm loving the Copeland run, the Cope Open. I don't know, you know, after the match and then the promo, it's like you're starting to see that because we saw Sky Blue, was it Sky Blue and Willow that were kind of getting like, you know, torn between certain things after they got misted. So the magical mist is
different effects.
Messing with you. So I don't know what's going to happen with here. It would be very interesting if, I don't necessarily want that, but if Cope ever joined the House of Black, it's kind of like a Brood type of thing, you know.
Oh, you're reading my mind.
Which would be very interesting, but I don't think you need that kind of a group in AEW right now. Like, I don't think you need it. I think Cope is doing so much more beneficial stuff as a solo performer right now. He's in great shape, you know, doing some awesome matches, having 20-minute matches on TV every single week and really just tearing the house down. And, you know, if he was still in the other company, he'd be lucky to get a 4-minute match on TV every single week. So loving it.
Well, and again, I'm not bashing the other company. I don't think we don't do that here too much. But yeah, we can make the comment that he kind of almost went. Yeah, there's it's apples and oranges. We can argue about the apples and oranges between the House of Black and the mommy and all of them, the Judgment Day.
Yeah.
Because originally he was in charge of Judgment Day, then they kicked him out. So, yeah, for him to go into like a Judgment Day Brood kind of group, I almost think that would be going – he doesn't need to go there. It's interesting that there's kind of a edge to him after being misted. Obviously, Kyle O'Reilly staring a little too hard at the TNT title, or was that a little bit of is he becoming a bit like Smeagol or Gollum, where he's being paranoid that now people are coming for his TNT title? You know, because I don't think Kyle O'Reilly was really that glaring with his thing. He was talking about having his back. So interesting how that's going to develop. I think you're right. I think it'd be a mistake to completely make him turn heel at this point, but you could definitely put a story with that. That was very interesting how Malachi was encouraging him to hit. Not only was Malachi, but even Buddy Matthews was encouraging him to use the chair. And, like you could feel darkness inside of him. And he's facing Brody King next.
Whew. But it's great that they're building that where Brody is one of those guys in the AEW roster that is just so absolutely dominant and fun, and he's has been booked as a good big man, which as we've talked about before, AEW hasn't necessarily booked their big men that well, and Brody I think has been booked very well over his tenure. I mean, the real huge turning point to me was when I was there live at the Blood and Guts one, where it was like the Battle Royal where he choked out Darby Allin. He was literally hanging him off the edge. I think that was one of the marquee moments for Brody King. And that's one of the ones that will always be a highlight reel in AEW and really, I think, helped solidify him as just like this absolute scary beast. However, he's been cutting these awesome promos where he's got 2 wins on Adam Copeland. So this match next week really makes it even more exciting. So I think that we could see another one of those trios team match before Double or Nothing, because Kyle O'Reilly was hinting he'll have your back and certain things like that. So maybe next week he'll come out and help him or whatever. But Adam Copeland won the belt on March 20th versus Christian Cage. So officially he's only had 3 title defenses solos. So this is still in his infancy stage, in my opinion. I think you use the House of Black as an awesome feud right now as a benchmark, and then continue, because there's so many more matches that could be on the table for him that I think are even more meaningful when he makes it that open challenge for the belt, because Christian Cage, it's no secret, Christian Cage really helped elevate this title to new levels, and Copeland is continuing that. And the only way to continue that is to do what he's doing, and I think he's doing it the right way.
Absolutely. And the Cope, I hope he still does the Cope Open, because I love having that door open. I feel like the TNT and TBS titles should be much more defended a lot more frequently. Granted, I mean, I think they need more women's titles before they really get to, because you need to get some more storylines. But I love the opportunity to bring in folks from the outside. That Matt Cardona coming in moment, the Edge's bitch. If you saw him, what's that guy's name? I can't remember his name. Matt Cardona had that match with the guy at TNA. I can't remember his name, but he cut that's where he got what was the guy? Oh yeah, Joe Hendry.
Say his name and he appears.
Oh, sorry about that. Anyways, but yeah, Joe Hendry. But yeah, having those opportunities to bring in people from the outside, Speedball, Mike Bailey, all these independent wrestlers. That's how we found Ricky Starks with Cody doing that open. We had Eddie Kingston. And it's not everybody's going to get signed. I mean, a lot of people were hoping that Warhorse would get signed. He didn't, but it's really given everybody an uplift. But I think equally you need that underlying storyline. And I think what we're going to see, what I think is going to happen, is we're going to slowly start to see Edge become more paranoid.
Copeland.
Copeland. Did I say? Look at me. I'm even slipping there. Well, here's what's interesting too, because like going back to like a Willow and Sky Blue and Julia Hart and everybody, like the mythology of Malachi's Mist is, I think what it does is it finds the darkness inside you and brings it out. So like you could argue that with Willow, her positivity was too strong for it. Julia had a lot of it. She turned into the Instagram witch. Sky Blue it brought out. With Adam Copeland, it's bringing a paranoia. And I think we saw it first with Kyle O'Reilly. I think we'll see a title defense there. And I think it's going to start driving. Edge isn't going to be much a heel as
Copeland.
Copeland. She did it again. See? Inception.
It's more fun to the Edge, though.
Exactly. I think he is going to be on the edge as we go into that.
Yeah, I think the way they're developing the story is very interesting, and I'm liking where it's playing out. And honestly, even House of Black taking these L's, and it was smart booking for them to go over at the pay per view, where it was, even though it wasn't the way I wanted it. But I was like, wait, this is great. I think it's smart booking, but I think they're still helping the House of Black look very strong, and it's one of those, like, I wouldn't like mind seeing them as trios again titles. Like, I don't know.
Yeah.
That's a whole nother topic we can discuss for another time, the trios titles. But I think it would be, they're still looking strong even after taking a lot of losses, which says a lot about their character work and a lot about their presentation, because they're always fun on TV and captivating. They deliver some of the best vignettes and promos that anyone on the biz.
Yes, definitely. They got to figure out those trios, man. They either merge them or split them up again. Something.
Well, I mean, as we saw today, the new belt was there, and or we saw last night, they had 3 belts. So there was the original trios belt was there. So are they going to get rid of the other 2? Or are they going to start carrying around 3? I don't know what's going to happen there, but I think they should just they missed their opportunity to present them with new belts and to kind of just like close that chapter and book with that. Before we talk about, we'll end on the women's division, but I want to talk about this one really quick. How Brian Cage and Claudio delivered an absolute banger of a match, and it was fun because the crowd, as you were texting me, was chanting meat. And like, is this a meat match? I'm like, well, yeah, I think so, because Claudio's the beast. I know he's not 300 pounds or like a Will Hobbs or anything like that, but the guy is a beast. And I think not only meat is just like physicality and like looks, but it's also your strength. Like, both guys are like super strong, meaty men. And I was hoping for more of the meat chance. Unfortunately, we didn't get that. But these guys, after Claudio, after having to me, arguably one of the matches of the year was Swerve Strickland on TV. I think that was one of the best matches I've seen on TV in a while. And that's in company with all the Ospreay matches that we have seen. But Claudio's been really putting in the work, doing some fantastic stuff. And Cage getting back on the scene. I was hoping for a great outing, and man, Cage delivered an awesome match. I mean, he got to showcase a lot of his high points. Obviously, his amazing strength, and just going toe-to-toe with Claudio was a lot of fun. And so it's great to have him back on TV and really delivering an excellent match. I mean, both guys were able to get some of their signature moves, which is shocking. With Cage with that suplex, the middle rope suplex on Claudio, which I was very shocked. And then obviously Claudio with the swing on Cage. So both guys delivered moves that typically aren't done to meaty men on their size, and they delivered it with ease, and it was a lot of fun.
Growing up, I was a comic book fan. I actually was a DC fan. Then I got into X-Men on Marvel side. So one of the things we always would do is, who would win in a fight, Spider-Man or Iron Man? Who would, Captain America or Wolverine? This is like Superman, Claudio versus the Hulk, or arguably the Swolverine, if you will.
Right.
This is one of those matches where it's like you've got 2 of the most talented in-ring wrestlers going just like meat, just colliding with each other, put on and again, no build up, just here you go. Oh, by the way, here's a steak dinner for you to eat. It's like, sometimes that's what it is. And I'm fine with that. Next week, it might just be like, oh, by the way, here's Ray Phoenix versus Will Ospreay. Enjoy. What? Like those kind of things. It's like those. It's like, don't threaten me with a good time. What's interesting about this is going forward, what they did is like you said earlier about out of sight, out of mind. Claudio put on he did a great job. He put on an incredible match with Will Ospreay. It's always 2 to tango, no matter who, Ospreay makes everyone look good, but Claudio was tremendous in that match with him. It gave Bryan Danielson a run for his money with his match with Ospreay. So I think in a way this is good that it gave Claudio a win. If we're breadcrumbing that Claudio might be the one to, down the line to face Okada, I think there's, if we can get Claudio on a winning streak, it's definitely something we could present. Also, Brian Cage, we need to remember he's there and how powerful he is and having a good, and again, I say, if you put on a good enough match like they did, it doesn't really matter so much who wins or loses, because even the loser of the match still comes out looking good if they had a tremendous performance. And Brian Cage, who better than Cage? He put on an incredible match. It's also reminding us, because if you look on this graphic, who's his manager?
That's right.
So Christian has his kill switch, Luke Kill Switchosaurus. Swerve has a Swolverine. So
I was hoping they would come out, because after they were getting, beat down, I think, you needed that. You didn't need a save at the moment, but quickly, Christian Cage is going to outnumber Swerve and Nana. And so it is the Mogul Embassy after all.
Yeah. And I think that's what we need. I think that's what we need. It'd be interesting to see if there's another person joining the patriarchy, because then we could have we could almost have like a 4-on-4. You have Nick Wayne, Christian, Kill Switch, and one other person versus Brian Cage, Swerve, and the Gates of Agony. I don't know how that's going to go down, but definitely Brian Cage. We need to see him having Swerve's back on this, and I think that would be tremendous.
Yeah, I think it's a matter of time, and given us the landscape, I think you'll see that maybe next week or the week after a match, because Cage needs to get back in the ring, obviously, just to, give us some more build and stuff like that. And so you could even do like a Kill Switch and Nick Wayne versus a Swerve versus Swerve and Cage, and then eventually do Swerve and Cage versus Cage and Kill Switch, or whatever it may be. So I'm all for that. I wish there was more of a build. I mean, like we talked about, we're 23 days away from Double or Nothing, which is very, very soon. Not a lot of TV time out there. But I want to talk about one of the two matches, Willow or the Deeb match.
I can fold them both into the same conversation if you're okay with that.
Yes,
because I think it's equal. Now I'll start with because I can go quicker with the Deeb match.
All right, let's go Deeb.
I now granted I am of this household. My goddess wife is not as much of a Deeb fan as I am. I am a Serena Deeb fan. I love the Professor. However, between the two, yes, she's a hot girl graps blonde, but Mariah May has completely impressed me so much with her in-ring ability, her personality, her character. She is top tier. And for her, and having her in AEW is such a blessing to the women's roster. It's so tremendous to have her. And it's okay for her to lose now under the essentially Tony Storm learning tree, if you will, because eventually she's going to be a top. She's a top star in the making, and I just really think she's got a great attitude. She's got a great ring presence, and this was a great way to build up the Deeb versus Tony Storm matchup. However, the storyline's going because they're building up to the Mariah May versus Tony feud. It's probably going to start after Double or Nothing, because the way that the match ended was Tony Storm throwing in the towel to stop the match. And, you can argue, did Tony Storm throw in the towel to protect Mariah, or did Tony Storm throw in the towel so that Mariah May wasn't the number one contender for the match?
Good point, yeah.
So there's definitely that argument, and there's all that questions, the wiggle room. It's got to start, occurring to Mariah May. Maybe Tony Storm doesn't like you as much as you like her. And is this going to start to play out? So I think that's what's going to develop over time. Serena Deeb's a great person to kind of get into Tony Storm's head, maybe even kind of make that suggestion to Mariah and get her questioning. I wish we had Mina back from Stardom. Hopefully we'll see her again at Forbidden Door. But I think there's a huge chunk of story here. But Mariah May has been such a great addition to the roster and a great addition to this whole storyline. And I think she is in my top 5 of women's wrestlers now. And I knew of her in Japan, but she's been tremendous. She's very well rounded, great on promos. This is going to be an awesome match. Is there anybody that thinks Tony Storm's going to lose the belt to Serena Deeb? I don't know.
I don't think there's a strong enough build at the moment. The Thunder build was way stronger, in my opinion. Quickly to echo you on that, the Mariah May, I mean, she was booked very well in AEW so far, and I love the pairing with Toni Storm. You know, she was undefeated for a while. Now she's taken a couple L's, which is okay, but I agree. I think she's been such a welcomed addition to the roster. One of those that's very hard-hitting, aggressive, great character work, great promo work, like truly a total package. And so it was excellent on that. However, this match, you know, Deeb, it's great to see Deeb back because she's another one of those that's like a core talent in the women's division that is one of those just pure professionals that is very fun to watch and unique. And, you know, it's like I'm going to say this because I'm a fan. It's like the Danielson of women's wrestling. And so the way she can ground and pound you and hold you and do all those things and very, very unique holds and very, you know, things you've never seen before. So this at the moment, you know, I'm picking Toni Storm. I think you almost could build Toni all the way to Wembley at this point because the way it's been going with her run and the way she's been doing her scrums and things like that. However, it's nice to see Serena in the spotlight. Serena have a title match, well deserved, and I think long overdue. So I'm here for it for this match.
What I would like to have had, and I think that there may have been that original intention until she got injured. I think because Serena Deeb came out to watch Yuka Sakazaki's matches, and I wonder if there was a plan for this, and I hope they find somebody else to do this with. But it'd be interesting if, you know, Serena Deeb talks about the Deeb Dojo, and there is kind of a learning tree there. I mean, there's all these learning trees. It's a learning tree for us. But like you've got Serena Deeb, if she has a prodigy, she finds a protege somewhere, and then you kind of have this Serena Deeb and her protege versus Toni Storm and Mariah May, and build that up for a few weeks, and then of course you lead to this match and what have you. I don't think Serena Deeb's going to walk away with the championship at this time. Not that she doesn't deserve it. And despite my new nickname that I got today from a certain Lamira Mira, despite that, you know how I feel about Thunder. And one of the best matches, one of her first best matches that I ever saw was Serena Deeb versus Thunder for the NWA championship. Tremendous athlete, tremendous matches. I'm biased. I'll admit it. I think Toni Storm is just going to hang on to this until it's Thunder's turn again. I'd love to see Thunder get it back, and then it'd be Thunder versus Jamie Hayter at All In, whatever. But Toni Storm, she's ready to drop the belt. You know, it's just got to be the right time. But she's ready to drop because Toni Storm doesn't need the title belt to still be a compelling character. And you've got this Mariah May feud ready to go. And I think that's what they're going to build up to. They're going to build it up to the point where Mariah May might even be a contender, what have you. And then we'll see what happens there. But yeah, at this point, I don't see Deeb pulling it over, but I really like the storyline. I'm along for the ride. That could change. There might be some things that happen between now and Double or Nothing that, you know, change our minds. Who knows?
Yeah, I think after this match, you could have a 4-way number one contendership match, which could include Mariah, Diano, Thunder,
Tony.
And who else?
And Tony. I mean,
well, I mean to number one contender, because
number one contender.
Well, I would like a 4-way match for the title as well, but I feel like it's more meaningful to win the title. Yeah. Or if you did a 4-way for the title and Mariah gets pinned, then that starts the Tony Mariah.
You cost me the title.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
So that could be very interesting on that, where you're supposed to help me win the title and you're doing this. So that being said, I mean, that's something to think about there.
I like that.
As we're wrapping things up, I think.
Can I take a moment here though to look at the camera? And I know Tony and AW, everybody. Sky Blue. Wow. Willow. Wow. This was one of the best women's matches I've seen in a long time. I know it was a brutal, quote unquote death match, but I've always been a Willow fan. I love her positivity, but I gotta say, I have 180'd with Sky Blue completely. And it was the match she had earlier when it was her and Julia Hart in a similar match and stuff that I was really locked it in for me. But this was such a great match. Sky Blue has really embraced her character. She's a much more compelling character now, but more so her in-ring skills. She doesn't have that new person stutter step that I used to see. She doesn't have that like almost hesitation, which is interesting because if you go and watch some old Sky Blue like independent matches, like she didn't have that. It's like almost like when she got to AEW, it was big time and that like maybe she had jitters, but that's gone. This is the Sky Blue that we used to see doing the code blues in like bingo parlors and whatnot. And this was, and the chemistry that she had with Willow. Willow is tremendous. You know, she's such a baby face. I don't think there's ever going to be a time where Willow can go heel. The barbed wire stuff, the everything that they did was tremendous. And I my hat's off to both of these ladies. And you know, we've given we've been. I feel like our criticisms of the women's division have been fair. I mean, it's sometimes it's nitpicking, but it's been fair because there is so much talent. I feel like in the last several months, it's really grown since Thunder's come back, even though, mid Thunder, perhaps, I don't know, she gave me my name. Ever since Thunder's come back, and there's been a lot of changes, and the women's division has really stepped up. These ladies deserve all their flowers, all the confetti. Such a great match. They really earned my respect, and it's a shame it was on so late because this was such a great match to highlight. I highly recommend anybody that missed this, go check this match out if you can. And it's a highlight, and it's a highlight of how far the women's division has come in AEW. And I'm hoping this is just more of the same and more of the more awesome matches like this.
I mean, you said it pretty much. Not much to piggyback on that because that was so well said. But I mean, the fact that it's been such an awesome journey to see that Willow is on, from the crowd to being crowned. She's got a heart of gold, but she is tough as nails, and really starting to show us, such a well-rounded performer with her fantastic promos and comfortable on the mic. And really not just delivering matches, but just delivering these almost like death matches and hardcore matches, and something you don't really expect from her, and just doing these fantastic, tough, ruthless things. When you have, I forget who said something about being a Teletubby and comparing her to Teletubby and something else. Did you see that? I forget what it was.
Yeah, I think we retweeted it or something. It's on point. She's like, and it's believable if she went squared up against Brody King. That's a match I'd like to see.
Exactly.
Like I was like, all right. She could probably maybe not take him, but she could definitely, give him more than stand her ground. And like I've talked about Sky Blue before. I mean, what are your thoughts on Sky Blue now versus when she first started?
I mean, I'll say it. I've said it before, and I'll say it again. When we saw her when we were at All In 2021 as a pre-show match, I was impressed. I was like, oh, this person, she can go. And then yes, I think one of the most growth out of a performer, especially in the women's division over the past 6 months to a year is to her.
Yeah.
And it shows because it's been great that she's been able to get that opportunity. You know, you look at her match list and how many matches she's had over the last 12 months. It's been some of the most, if not the most, she's been wrestled in AEW. And so, and those repetitions and that experience has shown, and she's taken it and she's improved so much more. So definitely establishing herself as a mainstay on the roster, as really a backbone of the division. And I think she'll do fine without Julia there for now. I think she definitely has the charisma and the talent to continue the dark side of her, and then to segue into maybe another feud with someone until Julia gets back. But yeah, I'm with you, man. I think I've always been a fan.
You know,
and for her to go through those dark, deep matches too, time and time again, it's been very, that's a testimony to your will for the business and your commitment to your passion.
And both Willow and Sky Blue are Mission Pro alumni. You know, they definitely they've done their time there. So another it's great you love to see it. You love to see it.
Exactly.
I'll probably save it for a hot take, but I saw an interesting question on Twitter earlier today about asking it seemed people, the guy said it was the guy that likes Aubrey. He posts a lot of pictures of her. He made the comment that when guys have a good match, everybody says they did a great job. But when women have a great match, everybody says, oh, they've improved a lot. I'm not sure that's true, because I've seen there's been women's matches that I've said, well, they were out the gate, they were great. And there's been some men matches, like we said it tonight, Jack Perry now versus where he started, promo wise was tremendous. But I definitely put Sky Blue in one of the most improved wrestlers that I've seen since she started. So great stuff. What a great Dynamite.
I mean, we're gonna have to save it for another time, but as we're wrapping things up, but man, the Learning Tree Jericho stuff, I'm all for that. I'm here for it all. We didn't even talk about Swerve's promo and other things, but a lot of the stuff, but we're gonna wrap things up for episode 125 of Dynamite Download. Everyone, thank you for joining us in the chat on X, YouTube, Instagram, everywhere. You know where to find us every Thursday. We'll be in touch. Can't wait to talk to you all. Unfortunately, no Collision, no Rampage this weekend, so we're all going to be twiddling our thumbs this weekend and maybe rewatching some matches and stuff. So, thank you guys. Have a great, safe weekend.
And we'll check out my chat with Thunder and Bougie Kana.
Yes, that was live today. If you haven't checked it out, it's on our YouTube channel, so definitely check that out and see why Mind Runner is now Mid Runner.